Hey there, my name is Nathan Hand, and I'm actually the videographer for Heartland Wellness Center. So hopefully you've been enjoying the videos we've been putting out. But today I'm here to talk about a personal story that I'm walking through and kind of talk a little bit about Heartland from an outside perspective, or a different perspective than you probably have heard, whether you've talked to people who are Heartland Heartbeats and have gone through or are currently going through, or staff members. So yeah, this is my story. So on January 5th of 2023, my son, Jimmy, was born. It was earlier than expected. He was having decelerations in the womb during a routine doctor visit, and we were told that we had to go to the hospital right away. So we went to Chicago, and he was born at 7:17, cesarean, totally normal birth, and I got to see him for a split second, and he was great, beautiful, looked fantastic. All throughout his pregnancy, we were told that he may have a corrugation of the heart, which basically just means a narrowing of the artery. So we were fully expected for that to be the case and for him to need surgery, which is why we went to Chicago, because we had to have Lurie Children's right there just in case he needed that. Turns out when he was born that everything that we thought was going to happen didn't happen, and everything that we were told was not correct. And isn't that the way that life goes? You think one thing is going to happen, and then... So when he was born, he went into cardiogenic shock. I got to see him for a split second. He wasn't crying. He was trying to breathe, and it wasn't working. So they rushed him out of the room. My wife and I sat there as they stitched her back up for the next 20 minutes, and then we were taken into a recovery room, and we had a doctor come in and tell us that Jimmy was immediately transported to Lurie Children's, and that they didn't know what was wrong, but they knew something was wrong. So I looked at my wife, I said, I'm leaving, I gotta go over there. So I ran over there as fast as I could. I knew which floor it was on. Had a little trouble at the front desk getting up there, but finally got up there. And when I walked to the room, there was tons of doctors in there, tons of people, like 30, 40 people in this one room. And they would not let me in. So they took me to like a family room down the hall and made me stay there. Not knowing what was going on. They said they would come back and give me more information. And then a few minutes later, after being in that room, I got a call from my wife, and there was a doctor with her, and they were talking to us about Jimmy and his situation, and they said that his oxygen was really low, his heart rate was really low, and he was in cardiogenic shock. And they were talking to us as if we were, I think the words they used were to prepare for his early termination of life. I'm alone in this room, and I immediately just hit the ground on my knees. And I was praying to God so hard. This was the first time that I felt like I truly give it like all to you, and just save my boy, And the people were still on the phone, and they were like, is there anything we can do for you? And I'm just bawling and praying, and felt like I was going to be in the fetal position. I felt like the floor fell out from under me, and then shortly after that, another doctor came into the room where I was, and same thing, I was still on the phone with my wife, and they were having the exact same conversation with me, telling us that it didn't look good, that he could have brain damage, his organs are failing, there's no way to, they're doing everything they can. And we thought we were going to lose him. I've never felt that much like pain and fear in one moment. So another woman walks in and she asks if I'm dad of Jimmy, and I say yes, and she asks if I want to see him, and of course I say yes, and she says, are you sure? It could be very traumatic. And I didn't blink twice. I said, of course, I want to see my son. I want to be there with him no matter what. So they took me into the room. As soon as I walked to the door, the doctors parted like a C, like a red C, and led a path directly to him. And I just walked up, and people are talking to me. They're trying to explain what's happening using medical terminology, and I'm not listening at all. And I just see him there with a tube in his mouth, hooked up to all these different things. The numbers are not good. I know a little bit about what they should be, and oxygen was not where it should be. Heart rate was not where it should be. Yeah, I just walked up and I just wanted to touch him. I asked permission to touch him, and they said that I could, and I just put my hand on his leg. And I just told him that I was there, and I was begging him to be okay, to fight through it. And believe me when I say that is completely different when you are a part of a miracle and not just hearing about it. And when I looked up and his numbers started to slowly rise, not quickly, not immediately, but slowly. And I got excited. I looked over and I was like, what's happening? And they told me, that's encouraging, but please don't get your hopes up. He's still very critical, and we still don't know what's going on. To make the rest of this story not as long and drawn out, they wheeled my wife over from Prentice Hospital to Lurie. She was shaking, she was freaking out, she thought she was coming to say goodbye, same to me, I thought the same thing. And they were again trying to explain everything to us, their fears, their concerns, what they were doing. And after a lot of conversation and a lot of not understanding what was going on, my wife went back to Prentice, and I stayed there with Jimmy the whole night. He had 3 nurses in there 24/7. I tried to sleep at 5 a.m. and I couldn't. I had just too many beeping, too many scary things. I stood right there beside him the entire night, just talking to him, telling him that I was there, telling him that, we loved him. He was in the ICU, cardiac or NICU, for 46 days at Lurie Children's, and they are amazing doctors. I just have to say that. It was a long battle. His kidneys had shut down. He needed dialysis. His lungs weren't working properly. They had fluid in them. He blew up like a balloon because his kidneys weren't working, and gained a bunch of weight, and then we needed to take it off of him. His heart wasn't pumping correctly, and then it was enlarged, and it was just one thing after another. They were worried about brain damage because of the lack of oxygen for how long he was in there without good oxygen levels. But every day, one little thing would happen, and we would get a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. We finally were able to come home with him. And that was another fear in itself. Like, you're not sure if your baby's going to keep breathing, and there's nothing you can do about it. After a week of being home, he got sick, and then we had to go to the NICU again, and he was there for another week. and then he came back home again. So 2 months of life, we've had him home for 2.5 weeks. And he's here. And that's really all I can say. He's a miracle through and through. And we're so happy to have him, so blessed to have him. And all we want is the right thing for him, the best thing for him. Here he is. Our little miracle. Came home with this NG tube, which we used to feed him in case he doesn't take all of his feeds. But he's doing really good right now. He loves being close to us. That's like his number one thing. Hates being laid down for naps and diaper changes. Loves his binky, but this binky only specifically. Little Jimmy. Little guy. So cute. And now I have to go give him to mom because he's not going to let me do the rest of this video. So how does this all tie back to Heartland? Well, like I said, I'm the videographer there, and I still have a job to do, even though all this stuff is happening. And they were great for giving me a little bit of time to get him straight, to get everything straight at home. And when I was coming in, it's amazing that these people believe and live what they do. They would ask me how I'm doing, and I wouldn't be able to get off with a "I'm fine" or "everything is okay" or "he's doing good." I had a place to talk about my feelings and my concerns, and like I would walk through those doors and Jamie and Eric would give me a big hug and they would ask how's my little man doing, how's everybody doing, how's the family, what can we do. I had a lot of long conversations with people from Heartland about my feelings through the whole thing, and that I was using avoidance coping in the hospital just by trying to learn as much as I could about what's going on with him. And then when we got home, it was a big weight because I don't have that to lean on anymore, and the rest of life is still going. So everyone goes through their own things, and everybody has their own experiences, and no matter the scope or size of that experience, we all feel it in our own unique way. And it is very important to talk to someone about it. And I can't stress enough how good the people at Heartland are. I'm not even an official client. I take videos for them. I'm not even there all the time. But they treat me like I'm family, and they treat me like I matter and my feelings matter, and they want to hear about my feelings. And talk to me about it, and talk me through it, and see what they can do. They're not even getting paid to do it, and they're doing it. These people care so much. And whatever you're going through, no matter what your struggle is, no matter what your battle is, they'll help you. And they will love every minute of it. So that's my story, and that's how Heartland is above and beyond any other center that you could go to. You're not just a number, you're a client. They care about you. If the clients that have gone through Heartland are Heartland's heartbeats, then the staff is Heartland's soul. Like, they are just pure, and they care, and they're there for you. So if you don't have someone else to talk to, if you need someone to talk to about anything, just reach out. Don't wait. Just do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Just do it. Trust me.